So good morning. Thank you for the small introduction there. My name is Jared. I'm an executive producer at a global creative studio called The Mill. We work extensively with real-time technologies, with major crossovers into the automotive industry as content and experience partners. So my focus is mainly in marketing content, specifically interactive and experience-focused projects that leverage real-time technologies. There's enormous advantages to working with real-time technologies in marketing, and I'm sure the rest of the panel have been talking about that at depth for the past hour without me. The obvious benefits are speed in the name, but real-time also offers a unique creative outputs and very different collaborative spaces like never before, which I want to touch on later on with some case studies. For those that don't know The Mill, you're looking at hopefully a not very stuttery video of our traditional VFX work that are based on the values of innovation and creative excellence. And a huge portion of our work is in the automotive industry. And both of those, The Mill and the automotive, I think, have a lot of similarities in regards to their endeavors for excellence and beautiful, shiny things. But The Mill has an undertone that is pushing us into new directions, and it's focused on leveraging real-time technologies. So I'm going to give you a quick taste of what that looks like. So as you can see, a very, very broad amount of work, all relying on real-time technologies, and very, very different to our traditional VFX work, which I showed previously. And so I understand that the topic of today's conversation is real-time toy or tool. And so I thought I'd like to discuss some case studies and some work that we've done in the past that uses real-time as both. I think there's a real positive to being a tool and a toy when it comes to marketing opportunities. Tools are obviously effective utilities and can be wielded with specific purpose. I was sad to miss Ross speaking about the stuff they're doing at BMW, because is no doubt a very good example of that. Toys, as well as being fun, engage audiences and maximize user enjoyment. And when done well, they can create positive results for brands that can galvanize brand identity. And a lot of our work is put into this category. So real-time as a toy. I'm going to go quick jump into this. Just like in gaming, real-time brings agency and to user experience, and it offers new creative potentials in regards to how people identify and interact with brands. Gaming being the largest entertainment market in the world is having enormous crossovers into new markets like engineering and automotive. These areas stand to benefit from thriving gaming markets and its fearless attitude, which you see on a weekly basis with Unreal Engine and Unity showing some incredible advances on what seems like a week-to-week basis. So here's our first case study in the toy category. In late 2018, we collaborated with Jaguar and creative agency Imagination for a Geneva Motor Show interactive piece. It enabled users to engage with a real-time Jaguar icon in a purely unique way via Realtime. We collaborated with a fantastic team called Wrench, using their machine learning and gesture tracking. Audiences were prompted via UI to make gestures that triggered unique behavior from the CG Jaguar, emphasizing the handling characteristics of the vehicles looming in the background. Everything here was built in real time using Unreal Engine. It's real time that allowed us the freedom to cross-pollinate these different technologies to enhance user experience. And this project is an excellent example of a bold creative and technological effort that made global noises. And I think Realtime is really behind a lot of these staggering and impressive visual pieces. Post COVID-19, we may see the exhibition space begin to change shape, and we expect these kinds of experience to pivot to new digital interfaces. And Realtime is going to take us there. On to part two of the category. This is the tool side, which I'm going to assume has been a heavy focus of today's conversation so far. And there is no denying the effectiveness of a tool when it's made and used well. Although we might be perceived as a design studio at the Mill, we tend to not be able to help ourselves when chasing a good idea that relies on smart tooling and innovation is knocking at the door. Generally, companies like us it might mean awards time as well. So this is back in 2017, saw us break new grounds in filmmaking in a collaboration with Epic Games again and Chevrolet by making the world's first configurable film called The Human Race. Using Unreal Engine, we allowed users to customize car features on the fly while watching the film via a desktop app. So a very, very unique viewing experience. It offered up over 337 permutations of the cars, colors, and styles in the running film that you could switch through. One of the classic creative agency requests is, can we do 100 versions of our film? And that's not such a scary pretense anymore. Cloud technology is kind of opening up this kind of project to a much more wider appeal. This kind of bespoke content can exist via web portals, has the opportunity to be targeted even more specifically to users via programmatic platforms like Facebook and YouTube, and I hope that's been discussed today. A quick little glimpse using a very similar technique to that film, but on a miniature scale. We've had some fantastic exposure to design teams, and I heard Doug speak about that just as I was logging on, around the evolution of that 1/4 or 8 scale clay model when it comes to product design, and we're using our Mill Cyclops technology to use that. So what you're seeing now is basically an augmented reality object that can be anything. The tracking here enables us to use the wheels of our remote control car as a base, and there's a camera on top of that remote control car that gives us live reflections, which is really the basis of good photoreal computer generated imagery. Unreal Engine then pulls all that together to visualize the car in place, which can be moved to understand car contour and material principles. So it's a very, very effective design tool. Unreal allows us to switch vehicles in and out on a whim as well. So I'm just going to jump to my final case study, which I think is an important one to note on. As it says here, CAD preparation for marketing assets. And I have a man giggling to himself in the background. This is somewhat of a taboo process when it comes to CG and visual effects in marketing. Processing CAD is probably one of the most frustrating and laborious tasks, which is basically taking engineering files from an OEM or a brand and bringing that into as a marketing asset. And real-time technologies are really enabling us to shorten this process. This is generally how it plays out. You start with a brand sending a CAD files to a creative agency that may have written a script for an idea. They then forward that to someone like us, the Mill, who then checks those files. I've rather cheekily said, usually it's the wrong file, so it goes back to the agency. And then once we do get started with the right file, the preparation for this file, the engineering file, to become a marketing asset in the software you use can take up to 4 weeks for removing nuts and bolts, adding the right shaders. So equating that to dollars is something people tend to not want to spend on. So a recent creative collaboration showed us the sunny side of this process when working with McLaren Automotive, and I think is widely known that McLaren are really leaders, one of the leaders in automotive in regards to using real-time technologies at a design level. So when we're working with those, it's with guys like McLaren Automotive, it's a very, very simple adaptation of an asset that they've already had in their systems. And then I've actually put one to do 2 days here, but I checked with the lead this morning. It was actually more like 1 to 2 hours to adapt an asset used by a brand into a marketing asset with us. So without further ado, I'd like to show you the project that came off the back of this collaboration with McLaren and VCCP. Please enjoy our recent Unreal Engine rendered film by director James McLaughlin from The Mill, and in collaboration with McLaren and VCCP. Thank you very much.